I definitely know that our past trauma or bad experiences can really influence us. But if only we can able to attach meaning, reason, purpose to those bad experiences, to those past trauma, trust me, things will start to change. When Dyer, the American psychologist, understands this better, that's why he said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Once upon a time in primary school, I had one of my biggest shock in my life. That experience really affected me psychologically and stays with me for many years until the day I started looking at it differently. So one day in primary school, I was asked out of my class because my parents did not pay my school fees. I went home crying, feeling very sad. And I explained that with my father. I can still remember the way my father looked at me and said, listen, I will never contribute anything that has to do with education in this house because my parents did not give me education and I have no value for education. I was devastated, especially when it's coming from your father. I mean, your father. I explained that with my mom, and my mom was like, I'm not surprised because he said the same thing to your two elder brothers. All along, I'm the one struggling to support your education in this house. Of course, my two elder brothers ended up dropping out of school and became alcoholic. And for me, I nearly failed in junior secondary school until the day I stopped blaming my father, my circumstances for my poor performances in school. And then things start to change. I was able to finish school and then graduated from the university. You know, a few years ago, I came across this book. It was written by Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga, and it's called The Courage to be Disliked. Amazing book, highly recommend. In this book, there is a quote from the great Austrian psychologist Alfred Adler that says, no experience is in itself a cause of our success or failure. We are not determined by our experiences, but the meaning we give them is self-determining. Focus on this. The meaning we give them is self-determining. And it's so true. In my case, the three of us were born and raised in the same house, same environment, by the same parents, and we were told the same painful word from our father. My two elder brothers understand it differently and decided not to value education and became alcoholic. For me, I use that psychological pain, that educational deprivation as a motivation to go and get education. Look, I definitely know that our past trauma or bad experiences can really influence us. But if only we can able to attach meaning, reason, purpose to those bad experiences, to those past trauma, trust me, things will start to change. When Dyer, the American psychologist, understands this better, that's why he said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And let me say this, holding on to those past trauma or bad experiences for that long, you know what that means? It means your thoughts and emotion are in charge of your life. And it doesn't supposed to be like that. You are in charge of that vehicle. And most times, the people we blame for those past trauma or bad experiences, they've already forgot what they did to us. But we still carry that with us. And you know it's too heavy to carry, right? Imagine you take it out. You let it go. You put it down. You feel free, right? You feel self-love. You feel you've taken personal responsibility for this special person, which is you. And that leads us to control. Anything outside of us, we cannot control. We cannot determine how that person should treat us or behave to us. We can't control that. But what we can do about it, what we can learn from it and move on, that is what we can control. And then finally, how can we able to see our past trauma or bad experience differently and then move on to a new direction? In this case, I consider 4 main things. And the first one is acceptance. You know, the word acceptance doesn't mean you like what happened to you. Instead, it means you cannot change what has already been done. Take it and then move on to a new direction. And that is what the serenity prayer is all about, acceptance. God grants me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Learn from those past trauma, learn from those bad experiences, and then move on to a new direction. The second one is share your past trauma or bad experience with the people you trust. Don't carry it alone. And when you share it, you dilute the pain. The pain goes away. Of course, the memory will always be there, for sure. But the pain goes away. And if it's something that has to do with grief, if it's an experience that has to do with grief with someone. Don't do it alone. David Kessler says, grief demands witness. Do it with someone. The third one, try to be in charge of your thoughts and emotion. Don't get infused with them. Diffuse yourself from them. Observe them. Question your thoughts. Because the thought, which is the thinking, is what triggers our emotion, which is the feeling. So don't believe anything that you think. Question them. And the last one is forgiveness. It's the key to freedom. You are not doing it for the next person. You are doing it for yourself because you care for yourself, because you love yourself. You let it go. Holding on is too hard. Let it go. And it's something that has to do with internal. It's not external. And it allows you to see people in the lens of compassion. Thank you.